Good morning, Exorcists. It's time for your daily archive reminder. Idol, Bloody Prince. Type 1, manifested as subject I-887, formerly popular Idol group member. Sidelined by her talent agency, later substantiated allegations of abuse and stalking by management. Online speculation as to her disappearance, substantiated investigation by Seer into cabaret club. My princess. Hi, hello, and welcome to the After Chat. Today we're talking about our first idol, the Bloody Prince. Or just Bloody Prince, there's not a "the" in the title. Though I will add, I did take some liberties with it, because I believe it has some kind of mimetic or cognitohazard effect, due to the fact it's the only archive with records erased. It's the only one out of every archive example we get. There's plenty of censoring, there's plenty of stuff left for a higher clearance. This was deleted. And particularly because of the mention of Seer being the ones to first interact with this thing or investigate it, I believed it was them. But it could also be Temerity as the ones deleting. So, up to you. Oh yes, the traumas. So we have, get your jokes out now, of the idol. The idol produces, the idol industry produces idols. But to the traumas, what is your dream? Why did you give up on your dream? And why do you think you are incapable of being loved? So for the dream, probably the fame, potentially, or maybe the wealth alongside it, but being a part of that idol group, being a star. Why did you give up on your dream? The very terrible situation of the substantiated allegations of abuse and stalking by management. That's not good. Why do you think you are incapable of being loved? I think it goes back to the relationship with that management. Not pleasant, but yikes. Consistently belittling someone to try and get them to do what you want, act the way you want them to act. Oh, moving on to the manifestation. Type 1. We don't have a cat, or at least not one presented, but I assume pretty small because it seems to be localized to one club. But then again, given the fact of the records erased, we just don't know, and probably more. Though, we have a situation where the idol is still obsessed or interested in their host, that trophy, that obsession. Because while the ogre usually hangs onto the host, it's a commonplace thing, the idol here can just leave. They don't always stay attached to their host. They could go off, do their own thing, form their own cult. But the Bloody Prince seems to hang around the host, hang over them, quite literally in the picture. Speaking of said picture, probably taking the role of that previous abusive and stalking management. Literally hanging behind her, the dark cloak acting as some kind of stage curtain. That pleasant mannequin-esque face, the glowing white eyes with the slight devil horns. And again, literally looming over her, and not facing her directly, just staying behind her, keeping an eye on her. It's Princess. Since the whole My Princess thing from the archive reading. But playing into that mimetic nature, what I think are its domains. So, mixing in both that mimetic nature and the idol, I'm thinking taking the ears and the glory. You know, the whole thing of pop, the presentation, the songs, the stagecraft, the persona, literally bringing flocks of people in underneath you, or stunning them. Now, this isn't possession though. This isn't the host doing these things. I think the sin is acting as the stage or the effects. Again, it's the manager, it's the one handling the presentation. The host is just meant to sit and look pretty in front of it all. So taking the ears being almost this form of speakers or blaring previous songs or the voice of the host. The glory being this grand light show that you'd find at such a presentation. And for 3, I would think the strong scented lips of a whispering god, but I don't think they're that connected. Again, just the one cabaret, so scrapping that. I think slumbering, I saw a shape in the door, because the host slumbering saw a shape in the door. Also because the others deal with the directly messing with the cultists, which there isn't really any particular mention. And then this domain also plays into, again, the stalking. That paranoia, that worry, that affliction, that abuse. Namely the stalking out of those two. And for the afflictions, the want. The want to be wanted, to show someone you're worthy of their attention, playing off the initial worries of the host themselves, that malicious relation they had with their manager, always trying to prove themselves be better. And for the palace, a stage or a club or just something to present to their host. And while that might seem counterintuitive because usually the palace is artifice placed in their honor. Sure, there might be posters, sure the host is on the stage themselves, their words, their songs, but did you take a look at the speakers? Did you look at the lights? Did you look at the curtains? They're the same as his cloak, the lights being the literal eyes of the mask hanging from the ceilings, always leering either on the host themselves or someone that catches the attention of the sin. The speakers coming out of the same mouth as those mannequin-like faces with the small horns. But that is just what I think. That's what I have, that's what I've thrown together. especially in this case, because, alright, I do want your opinion on what you think these could be, the domains, the palace, afflictions, etc., the focus of the different traumas in the host. But I also really want to hear your opinion on what it means that this is the one archive with records erased. Because it could mean a whole number of things. Again, Temerity also has some sins in custody. But would they erase the records? Because they do mention those. Again, this isn't censored, this is just erased. The information is gone. Not restricted. Gone. Or just buried under a different physical file somewhere. Anywho, really want your opinion on that, what the possibilities of that could be. Am I looking way too much into the fact its records are erased, or do you think I'm onto something there? Anywho, as one of our interrupted Temerity archivists would say, happy hunting. As above, so below.